Today marks a joyous occasion, as I am finally reunited with Virginia and James after a 2-year separation. I arrived in England during turbulent times, as the young Jasper of House Tudor has noted. The escalating conflict between the most powerful nobles of the Plantagenet dynasty threatened to plunge the realm into civil war. My mother offered sage advice upon my arrival at her family estate, guiding me on how to navigate the delicate political landscape. Uncle James found himself torn between his loyalty to House Lancaster and his burgeoning business connections with House York. I overheard discussions of potential revolutions, clandestine plots, and schemes either to safeguard King Henry's throne or bolster the cause of Richard of York, a prominent political figure at the time. I informed my mother that I had not escaped the Ottomans in Constantinople only to be entangled in another whirlwind of violence and chaos. I had a son and a wife to care for, but safety seemed a luxury in those uncertain days. My mother Emily belonged to House Harrington, a prominent family of merchants in southern England with long-standing ties to the Byzantine Empire. My late Lord Father fell for her during her visit to Constantinople in 1423, alongside my grandfather. At the time, my father was but a prince, destined to become the despot of Morea. My birth resulted from their union, and at my uncle Emperor John VIII's behest, I bore my mother's surname to prevent any association with the Palaiologos dynasty. When my grandfather fell gravely ill in England, my mother and I journeyed to his side. Upon his passing, I inherited a significant portion of his wealth and began training as a knight. My Lord Father summoned me to Morea in 1442, following the death of his second wife. Impressed by the tales of my martial prowess and financial standing, he enlisted me within his personal guard, eventually promoting me to its commander. Together, we endeavored to fortify Constantinople upon his ascent to the imperial throne in 1449, with my mother remaining in England and sending gold to recruit mercenaries against the Ottomans. In recognition of my efforts, he declared me a Palaiologos, eligible to inherit the imperial throne. My newfound status went unchallenged, thanks to my wealth and influence at court, until the Ottomans besieged Constantinople in April 1453. Many considered me a prince, but among European nobility, I was a bastard born of an unholy union. "You are the son of sin," they would often sneer when my mother brought me to their courts throughout Europe. "Endure their scorn, for you may need them against the Ottomans in the future, but never forget, you could be the next Eastern Roman Emperor," my mother would counsel me when I bemoaned my status. I complied, only to find them absent in our hour of need. Now, I eagerly anticipate chastising them without restraint, for they utterly failed Constantinople. With the king incapacitated and Lord York appointed as the protector of the realm, Uncle James, believing in my family's prosperous future, entrusted me with a significant share of his business. This led me to London, where I met Queen Margaret. To her, I was the Byzantine prince, while to Lord York, I was a potential ally in his quest for total control over England. The rivalry between the houses of York and Lancaster reached a boiling point, and I had to navigate these treacherous waters for the benefit of House Harrington. Upon my return to Plymouth later that spring, I realized that my next meeting with either the Queen or Lord York would inevitably cast me as an enemy to one and an ally to the other. While this development initially spelled trouble for the realm, I saw an opportunity to secure powerful allies to perhaps one day return and reclaim Constantinople. To Lord York, the man who had fought against the Ottomans his entire life would be a valuable asset to his cause. For Lady Margaret, however, it was more about cementing the loyalty of our family, whom I now represented due to my uncle's poor health. I recall the day war was declared between the houses of Lancaster and York. Virginia had just given birth to our second child, John, and a recent business agreement with Lord York had brought us considerable prosperity. This development displeased both Jasper and Queen Margaret. However, when Lord York was dismissed from London by the seemingly recovered king, we faced the decision of choosing sides once more. Lord York had treated us well during our business ventures and even promised to support any future plans to reconquer Constantinople by lobbying other European rulers to form a grand coalition. But for that to happen, he needed to be king. Thus, I was among the first to know of his true intentions to overthrow King Henry VI. I offered my support, fully aware that it could spell trouble for my family. With Uncle James dead and without heirs, I assumed the leadership of our house, and the choice to side with either the king or Lord York was mine to make. Mother believed in Lord Richard and advised us to leave Plymouth to join forces with him in York, a course of action we hastily pursued upon receiving his written invitation to join his host.